Finally. A true dominating win. Oh my gosh. That was the exact performance this team needed to have before another date with the Green Bay Packers in 6 days' time. That's right, the Bears win 31-3 over the Cleveland Browns at home. Absolute destruction. I mean, that thing wasn't even close from the get-go. This was a rout. And that's exactly what the Bears needed to do in this one against a vastly inferior opponent. I mean, the biggest thing that I wanted to see out of this Bears team was convincingly beating a team. Didn't matter who it was, how bad they were, yada, yada, yada. I wanted to see this Bears team who have playoff aspirations, and frankly, after today, not just playoff aspirations, but division title aspirations and potentially NFC aspirations. What I want to see is this team thoroughly beat an opponent because they had been getting by with some one-score games. There were some games, especially in that middle stretch, that were closer than they needed to be. But you can tell this team might be playing their best football going into the final 3 games of the regular season. That was their most complete game of the year. And again, I know Cleveland's not a good football team. But with how Shedeur Sanders looked last week, it really did feel like Cleveland has a bit of a shot. You can't overlook them. And they had no chance. Absolutely none. And the funniest part is that there's a good chance this thing is even worse. Because the Bears had some mistakes in the first half that really kept this thing from being a total blowout in the first half. On the opening possession, Devin Duvernay takes it across the 50, the opening kickoff, one of his best returns of the year. And the Bears promptly go 3 and out after Kyle Monungai drops a screen pass that he would have probably taken for at least a first down, if not plenty more, maybe even a score. That one stung, but considering that we had an amazing special teams play right after, made up for it, absolutely, because Josh Blackwell, I love Josh Blackwell, man. What a play. Diving at the 1-yard line to keep that ball in front of the end zone and down at the 1. That is exactly what you're looking for, especially after the disaster that was that first drive. Browns also go 3 and out, and the Bears end up going down and scoring a touchdown. And that's when the game really started to get away. And it really felt early on, after like those first 2 drives, that the Bears were going to just walk all over Cleveland, and that's exactly what they did. And the quarterback looked really good in this game again. Caleb Williams had a really nice day. He was amazing. Made some phenomenal throws in the second half. That touchdown pass to DJ Moore in the first half was a beautiful touch on 3rd and goal. Short out route towards the sideline. DJ Moore's got like a step and a half on his defender. I mean, that is a really well-placed football for Caleb Williams. An easy throw that he has to make to a wide-open receiver. And that's exactly what you want to see from a guy that is drafted as high as Caleb Williams. You want to make sure that that one gets hit. You need that pass to hit. He misses that throw, and you're just scratching your head like, how in the world do you miss that? But that was a perfect touch. It was a very pretty throw. I really liked what I see there. And frankly, they should have gone up 21-0. They had the ball inside the 10. They got stopped. Caleb got sacked by Myles Garrett. We'll talk about him in a minute here. But this is the one thing that worries me. And this was something that people who follow the 2018 know this all too well. Cairo Santos missed a 35-yarder in this game. I don't know if it was the glare. I mean, from the angle, the glare was pretty bad. Which, A, why aren't you wearing a visor on your helmet? That was kind of ridiculous. And B, it's 35-yarder. You got to hit it. And to my knowledge, he hasn't missed inside 40 in a Bears uniform and he's been here for like 6 years. I think that to me. I had been on the train of Kyro's been getting a little bit too much hate this season, but that missed kick really shows the alarm signs, in my opinion. And regardless of what happens, you gotta move on from him this year. I think him missing that kick really shows a sign of regression and is showing that the leg is wavering. It's already been wavering. He hasn't had this. He's never been a kicker with the strongest leg, but his accuracy's starting to suffer a little bit. I think it's time to move on from him. And frankly, he's set some records for the Bears just from being with the team for as long as he has. But yeah, it really does feel like you got to move on from Cairo. I do still have confidence that he's going to hit anything inside 45. I think that'll be the one miss that he has from inside 45 all year. But regardless, that's a miss you cannot have, especially with the talent at the kicker position. But that's the only concern that I have out of this game. Actually, one more quick thing. Rome Odunze was supposed to play in this game. Notice how I haven't mentioned him at all. Because he didn't play in this game. He re-aggravated that foot injury during warm-ups. And so I'm sitting here like, what's going on with the training staff? This is the second week in a row a player has been dealing with an injury and coming back from missing some time, and all of a sudden they re-aggravate said injury that took him out in the first place in pregame warmups. Happened with Kyler Gordon a week ago against the Packers, and that really hurt him because it sounded like they were running 2 slot corners all game long, and so it really screwed up Dennis Allen's scheme. And now you got Rome Odunze, who just re-aggravated a foot injury that he probably has been dealing with for a while, but hadn't had to miss time for it that much. And who knows whether or not he's going to have to miss more time. I was honestly in favor of sitting him in this game if he wasn't fully 100% ready to go, just to give him some extra time to heal, because I was confident that they would win without him. And they didn't just win without him, they absolutely steamrolled over an inferior opponent. So I don't know why they were wanting him to play in this game. Didn't make any sense. That seems very concerning, knowing that this has now happened 2 weeks in a row with some of the Bears' stars, some of their most notable players. So, not good. And that's where the negatives pretty much end. Outside of those couple of missteps in the first half, this was total domination. And even despite those missteps, it was still total domination in the first half. At one point in the second quarter, the Bears had more first downs than the Cleveland Browns had total plays. Browns had gone 3 and out 3 times. The Bears were moving the football, even though they had a bad first drive and a missed field goal. I mean, they could have totally had 24 points by the end of the first half. And that would have been amazing. But with how they played, I wasn't too, concerned with points on the scoreboard just yet. Especially considering how they woke up in the second half. And it was kick-started by an INT from DeMarco Jackson, who did not play in a game until week 12 when Edmonds, Edwards, and Sewell were all out against the Steelers. And it was DeMarco Jackson wearing the green dot, being the leader on the defense, and partnered with Amen Ogbamamiga in the linebacking room. He's now playing alongside TJ Edwards right now. It really seems like that's the tandem. And he was rewarded with a beautiful play to get an INT, batting up a Shedeur Sanders pass and tracking it down to catch it himself. So deflecting it and coming away with the INT deep into Browns territory. And that to me was where the game really felt like ended. And the game would all in effect end on the very first play of the ensuing drive. And we've seen Ben Johnson do this before, and coaches in the NFL do it a lot. They'll go for an explosive play on the first play after a takeaway from their defense. They'll try to stretch the field, trying to take advantage of the momentum to try and hit a big shot down the field. And it doesn't always work. In fact, it hasn't really worked a ton for the Bears this year. But when you talk about a home run play on the first play after a takeaway, this was it. This is Caleb Williams' best throw as a pro. No hyperbole. The most improbable completion of his career, which beats out the touchdown pass to Olamide Zaccheaus last week by not much. It's those two throws. But this throw was unbelievable. Last week's touchdown throw was a 1-yard touchdown pass fitting in near impossible window. This is a 22-yard touchdown pass while Caleb's rolling to his right, throwing on the run into the back of the end zone over 2 defenders. Oh my God! That was nasty! I've never seen a Bears quarterback make a throw like that in my life. And I'm pretty sure there are people who are way older than me, into their 30s, like late 30s, maybe even their early 40s, who haven't seen something like that. Ever. And I feel pretty confident saying that because you look at the history of this team. What other quarterback in Bears history is making a throw like that? On the run, over 2 defenders. Which, by the way, also, great catch by DJ Moore. You look at the replay, that ball got tipped ever so slightly before it got to DJ, making that pass a little bit more difficult to haul in. And DJ still comes down with it. I mean, that was unreal. I thought that was picked off, and they were going for another home run play, and it just didn't work out, and now you give Cleveland life. But no, DJ Moore gets the 2 feet down and celebrates and kind of runs away, kind of almost like in disbelief that he caught it, like everyone else watching at home. Like, oh my God, that was unbelievable. That throw was nuts. Nutty nuts. And the game, in essence, is over. Cleveland would stage a very nice drive, actually, afterwards. Probably their best drive of the game, in my opinion. Which should have ended in a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders had a really, really nice throw to Jerry Jeudy, which should have gone for a touchdown. But Jerry Jeudy been demanding some targets, feeling unhappy in his situation in Cleveland. Dude, you want more targets. Catch the frickin' ball. That was embarrassing from Jerry Jeudy. It was right in the breadbasket. Great throw from Shedeur Sanders. And the way that Jerry Jeudy fell, he gets in. That's a touchdown. But he drops it, and it goes right into the lap of Jalen Johnson for his first INT of the season, getting in on the takeaway feast that so many other Bears players have been enjoying over the course of this season. Jalen hasn't had too many opportunities to enjoy that. And he does here. It fell right in his lap, and he picks it off right in the end zone. Bears get the ball back. And to further add insult to injury and to leave no doubt, 80-yard touchdown drive. Finished off by a really, really nice DeAndre Swift touchdown run from about 17 yards out. Some of the worst tackling I've ever seen. And that's saying something considering that we saw what happened in Cincinnati on the game-winning touchdown to Colston Loveland. But that was because he bounced off a tackle and no one else really got a chance to tackle him. DeAndre Swift broke like 5 tackles on this touchdown run. It's like, seriously, can anyone on Cleveland tackle him? And it wasn't like DeAndre Swift was stretching and got it over. No, he didn't even fall on the ground. With all the attempts and all the Browns that had a shot at him, DeAndre Swift scores this touchdown standing. Just insane. And so the domination's complete. This was such a convincing win for the Chicago Bears. They had 5 total team sacks. This is a defensive line that has struggled getting pressure to the quarterback all season long. They're playing against a banged-up offensive line, and they got pressure, as they should in a game like this. And against a quarterback that does have some wheels, Shedeur Sanders can escape from the pocket. He had 1 or 2 runs in this one, but he does have a tendency to take a lot of bad sacks, and he did in this game. Even though Montez Sweat didn't get a sack in this game, there was still a ton of pressure. And I'm honestly okay that Montez Sweat didn't get a sack in this game. He didn't need to get a sack in this game. He's probably getting double-teamed all day long, which freed up space for other guys on the defensive line to get home, which, again, there have been so many moments this year where the defensive line has gotten so close to sacking the quarterback, but just cannot finish. They finished in this one. Austin Booker with 2 sacks, one to completely keep the Browns out of the end zone for good, and then, of course, had a sack in the first half that should have been a fumble, but for progress, they can't review it, some garbage like that, I don't know. They won by 28 points. I'm not going to complain too much about it, but I would have loved to see Austin Booker get that forced fumble on his stat line, but, you know, what can you do? But regardless, Austin Booker had 2 sacks. He's now the 4th Bear with multiple sacks this season. Montez Sweat, Gervon Dexter, who had a sack in this game, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson are the other 3. So, like to see that for Austin Booker, who now has 3 on the year himself with the 2 he got in this game. Grady Jarrett got a sack. That, I think, tells you all you need to know about how poor that Browns offensive line is. Grady Jarrett has been a liability this year, really starting to show his age. Was able to bring down Shedeur Sanders once in this one, right at the end of the game. That tells me a lot about that Browns offense when Shedeur is taking sacks like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a really nice job. And DeMarco Jackson, who had a pick, also got a sack in this one. So, I love seeing what DeMarco Jackson's been able to do over the last 4 games now. He's been a real crucial part of this defense, filling in for guys when they've been hurt. And I have full confidence that he can come through and make some plays if we have someone go down in a game or just is out as Tremaine Edmonds was today. I'm going to stick with defensive line here. More so, I'm going to go flip to Cleveland's side of things. Myles Garrett had a sack and a half in this game. He is 1 sack away from beating the all-time sack record. He's either 1 or 1.5 away. I can't remember off the top of my head. But guy was doing his job, though he struggled a little bit today. There were some nice plays from this offensive line to get him away from Caleb Williams and design rollouts to get him away from Myles Garrett. Like, they did a really good job to make sure that Myles' impact was limited. And even then, he still managed a sack and a half. The guy is unbelievable. Like, seriously. He's going to break the record. He's got 3 games. He's got 3 games left. He's going to break it. It's just a matter of when. I think it happens next week. But he had a good game as the Browns lost 31-3. Hope that all that money's worth it, Myles, for all the losing. Quickly touching on the Bears' offensive side of things, DeAndre Swift had a really, really nice game. I thought that with the weather conditions and the frigid temperatures, they were going to really rely on Kyle Monangai, who's a bit more of a bruiser type of running back that can just kind of go north-south. But I also forgot going into it that Cleveland's defensive line is their best position group. Shelby Harris, Alex Wright, Myles Garrett. That's a very, very stacked defensive line. Oh, by the way, Alex Wright got a sack in this one. So it made sense why Monangai didn't have the bulk of the carries, because they got the ball away from the defensive line in the run game, and that means DeAndre Swift time. He ended up getting 2 touchdowns in this one, nearly broke 100 yards, was a few yards away, but still a solid performance from this rushing offense again. And hey, this receiving core wasn't incredibly diverse in this one. With no Rome Odunze, there were just 5 pass catchers in this one, and DeAndre Swift didn't even gain yards on the one catch he had. Luther Burden led the way with 6 catches for about 80 yards. I like what I see from him. In the 2 games that Rome has missed, he's got 10 catches for about 150 yards. Really like what I see from Luther Burden. Had that beautiful spin move and juke right after on like a 2nd and 16 to make it 3rd and 1 as opposed to 3rd and 9. So the guy knows how to be able to shake off some tacklers. He's young. He's got a ton of athleticism. I cannot believe Luther Burden fell out of the first round. And not only that, fell to the Bears at 39. It felt like a weird pick at the time, like best available talent, but we already got a ton of receivers. But turning out to be an absolutely great selection. He's been healthy. Guy is making some nice plays, even though he hasn't really been rewarded with touchdowns this year. He has the one on the flea flicker, but that's his only touchdown still. And then DJ Moore with the 2 touchdown catches, both of which were very nice. Had another catch along the sideline that was beautiful. Great awareness. Field awareness was on another level. Gets the 2 feet down. Love that. And then Colston Loveland was active. Colquhoun had 2 catches before leaving with an ankle injury after kind of taking a bit of a tumble after his 2nd catch. Colston was a reliable target as well. Had a nice diving catch and 2 nice diving catches. One was a more traditional diving catch where the ball kind of got there as he dove, and it was more of a body catch. Another one was a beautiful, and by the way, this is in single-digit temperatures, diving, hands catch, pulls it into his body as he tumbles to the ground. Ball doesn't touch the ground at all. There's no question it's a catch. I mean, that was stellar. His hands are very, very soft, and playing in a city like Chicago, that's really important, especially at this time of year. And I think his experience playing in a stadium in a state like Michigan really helps. And growing up in, Idaho, it helps. And it's showing because he's got soft hands in frigid temperatures. So yeah, that was absolute destruction. Shedeur Sanders was the leading rusher for the Cleveland Browns. He had 24 yards on just 2 carries, both of them scrambles. Quinshon Judkins had 12 opportunities to carry the football. Just 21 yards. Under 2 yards a carry. Horrific. By the time the Bears scored their 4th touchdown, they had more touchdowns than the Browns had first downs. That is the definition of a rout. That is the definition of avoiding a trap game. Because frankly, this game had the billing of potentially being a bit of a trap game. Cleveland's coming off a very nice offensive performance. Shedeur Sanders is kind of feeling himself right now after throwing for over 300 yards. I think it was 3 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. He had a really good game last week. And the Bears are coming off a loss. They have the Packers again next week. It's at home. They're against a supposed easy opponent. This felt like a trap game. But I also knew this was not going to be a trap game with just how Ben was talking about it in his pressers. You could tell he wasn't just looking ahead to Green Bay next week. he was focusing to make sure that this team left a statement in this one that they can beat up on a inferior opponent. And they absolutely did. And now it sets the stage for another clash on Saturday. Ben Johnson becomes just the third Bears head coach ever to win 10 or more games in his first year as head coach. The other two being George Halas and Matt Nagy in 2018. You'd hope that Ben's tenure ends up more like the former than the latter. Hey, this is Editing Alex here, wanting to let you all know about a personal fun fact of mine about this game. I've actually seen this quarterback matchup before in person. For those who don't know, I'm a graduate of the University of Colorado, and my senior year was Coach Prime's first season as head coach at Colorado. So I got to see USC Caleb Williams throw for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns against my poor Buffaloes, even though the Buffs stormed back late against that garbage USC defense, making it a one-score game, which it had no business being. But it's weird to see myself on the other side of this quarterback matchup, rooting for Shador in one and now rooting for Caleb in the other. But now this involves my favorite NFL franchise as well, so I thought I'd let you guys in on that. I thought that was kind of cool. Anyways, let's wrap this thing up. Before we get out of here, I got 2 fun stats for you. Number 1, Caleb Williams crossed the 1,000 pass attempts mark. So he's thrown his first 1,000 NFL passes. He's thrown just 12 interceptions. Caleb Williams has thrown the fewest interceptions of any quarterback in NFL history in their first 1,000 career passes. Crazy stuff, man. The guy just does not turn the ball over. He just doesn't. And number 2, Caleb Williams, with the passing yards he accrued in this match against the Cleveland Browns, has passed Justin Fields for 10th in career passing yards in Bears quarterback history. He's already passed Justin Fields. And Justin Fields was 10th in history. Caleb Williams hasn't even played 2 full seasons. And he's just a couple hundred away from going into 9th place. This guy is a top 10 Bears quarterback passer of all time, and he hasn't played 2 seasons. Again, that tells you everything you need to know about the history of quarterbacking in the city of Chicago. If you thought the first Packers-Bears game had high stakes, the stakes for this one coming up in Soldier Field might be even bigger. Under the lights, in prime time on Fox, Saturday night football, Bears, Packers in the Windy City. Bring it on, man. Well, that's about it. So hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you really liked it and want to see more content from me. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. Let me know what you think after this 31-3 beatdown. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bear down.